All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome into today's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we're going to be diving into the markets, but more so, we're going to be diving into a topic that I see quite a bit across Twitter, and the general crypto sentiment out there right now isn't great. We're seeing tokens listed as securities. We're seeing USDT DPEGs. Just the market circumstances out there right now haven't been the brightest. But the one thing that is circulating is play to earn dead? Is Web3 gaming dead? Is this a failed experience? I'm going to go over exactly my thoughts on it. I don't think my answer is going to surprise you, but I am going to lay out the cold hard facts as to why crypto gaming is still more than alive and why I believe that the infrastructures, the studios, the games that are building correctly will be the biggest winners and turn gaming into the biggest sector in Web3 long term, as I truly do think the best use case right now for actual NFTs and currencies inside of games is by far gaming. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Like the video down below and subscribe for more every single day here on In the Game and on Crypto Banter. And shout out to our sponsors here on In the Game. Bybit for all of your trading needs. Sign up for a Bybit account down below. NordVPN, always navigate safely and securely when you're navigating Web3 and crypto. Don't disclose your location. Use NordVPN down in the description below. And last but certainly not least, one of the best blockchain gaming studios, infrastructures, blockchains, and ecosystems in the space, Vulcan Forge. So link in the description down below for all of our sponsors. Let's go ahead and dive into it. This morning, we saw a little bit of a dump on Bitcoin. Yeah, to say the least. We saw a little bit of pressure down here to the downside on the one-day chart. And a lot of this had to do with some FUD regarding a USDT DPEG. This just started to send us a bit lower. And as Miles shows here, stablecoin FUD often marks local bottoms. As you see here, certain time periods when there were stablecoin FUD around USDC, USDT, typically that actually does mark like that local bottom. I don't know that the local bottom is in this time period because of the circumstances with Binance, with Coinbase, just the securities, the Robinhood delistings. We've had a lot of pressure here on the markets recently. Could we see a bit of a relief? I could totally see that, but I don't know that max pain has been reached yet as far as, you know, these local bottoms. And I truly do think, I mean, this opinion right here about how people convert stables to Bitcoin and ETH when there's stablecoin FUD, completely justified. Liquidity does flow into these stuff, to these coins whenever there is stablecoin FUD. But it's going to be interesting to see where the market goes from here. I could totally see some relief. But from a macro perspective, it's not too bullish with the stock market basically in a complete bull run. A lot of stocks hitting all-time highs, 52-week highs every single day. And then we have crypto really struggling to get off the ground during the same time period. And with the macro, you know, kind of pressure from these news events, it's going to be hard to probably see a breakout anytime soon in these markets. So just tread cautiously. If you're DCAing out there, always make sure that you're DCAing at comfortable levels to potentially hold long term. But regardless, bullish today to see that BlackRock is reportedly on the brink of filing an application for a Bitcoin ETF. Now, Bitcoin ETFs over time period have always been declined. They've never gone through. But if one company is going to get it over the, over the line, I could totally see BlackRock, the pressure that they have and the stranglehold that they have on the business and financial markets. I could totally see BlackRock coming up with the stipulations around a Bitcoin ETF that might actually go through. So we'll see how this turns out. Like I said, all the Bitcoin ETF stuff in the past has never really materialized to anything. But I think BlackRock, of all the institutions, of all the financial cartels out there, I think that BlackRock probably does have the best chance of actually getting it over the finish line. Let's dive into the narrative on this show. And I really want to talk about, is crypto gaming dead, right? So first and foremost, we've seen a lot of negative headlines in the space, right? We've seen Sandbox and Mana and 𝗪𝗓𝗓𝗓 listed as securities. And in the SEC lawsuit, they were coming at 𝗪𝗓𝗓𝗓 hard about marketing the token as an investment, rewards in the ecosystem, talking about, about their ICO, about how the coin was initially launched. And they really came after them really hard when it comes down to it. And sure, that first play to earn model was very flawed. The two token economics, it was basically first person in the ecosystem, first person to sell before the dump wins, right? And that has completely changed in the industry. I would say that was a Ponzi-nomics / toxic type of play to earn environment that we were in that time. And that's kind of what created this negative sentiment, right? $1 billion crypto startup promised riches and delivered disaster. We also have seen the negative headlines of Axie Infinity's $650 million Ronin Bridge hack. Not to mention, whenever there's good games to Web3 people in the space, they just get absolutely demolished by publications out there. Like, it's not like this is a well-known publication that I'm looking at here, but at the same time, rating Grit a 1 out of 10, that is an unmitigated disaster that has a 0 chance of survival as a viable battle royale in the Western market. And if you go down here, the guy says he believes in crypto, this and that. It says that Grit is not worth playing. And I feel Epic Games made a mistake by allowing such an unviable service game on its storefront. While low quality games can be found on every platform, Grit is essentially unplayable at launch and should be pulled immediately. But if you actually look at the reviews, it's got a 4.9 on Epic Games. The Web3 community has really flocked to this because there's nothing wrong with the game. I actually think it's one of the better games in Web3 at this moment in time. But we have to remember that this industry is only 24 months old. Web3 gaming in a mainstream stance has only been here for 2 years. Axie Infinity took off in May of 2021, and that's not the staple of what a crypto game is. What it is, that's the proof of concept. Axie Infinity will forever be the proof of concept that gaming and Web3 works, right? Ownership, NFTs, currency inside of these games that you can actually have ownership on, transfer out of these games and ecosystems, and actually be able to monetize not just the money side, but your time, right? People spend days, on Diablo, on Fortnite, Call of Duty, Apex Legends. And then when they put the game down, all those earned inventory assets, they can't really do anything with them. Web3 gives you that empowerment to be able to actually monetize not only your assets as mentioned, but your time. And then when you look at the adoption side of it, this is where we turn bullish, right? Square Enix tapping Polygon for a Web3 experience. Square Enix are the developers behind Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy games are some of the most popular sagas of all time inside of gaming. And if they create a successful product and market it correctly, it doesn't matter if NFTs are inside of this game. People are going to play it because it's a fun experience. Epic Games, while also launching games on their platform, Imposters, My Pet Hooligan, Grit, Star Atlas, all going on Epic Game Store. They also raised $2 billion last year in a round with Sony and Lego. And it was $1 billion each, $2 billion to develop its metaverse efforts. So these big companies like Square Enix, like Epic Games are looking at it. And then just recently, over the last month, we've seen Nike partner up with EA Sports to bring swoosh.swoosh virtual creations to EA Sports experience. This is NFTs that could potentially be inside of FIFA, Madden. That's going to be a game changer, no pun intended, but truly a game changer in this industry. If NFTs, customization, ownership, marketplaces where peer-to-peers can trade their assets inside of these games, this is going to be a big shift if this is a success and this goes into EA Sports games. We have Ubisoft bringing Assassin's Creed NFTs to Web3, the perfect blend of physical and digital collectibles. All this being said, you have to read between the lines. The biggest companies in gaming Every single one of them are looking at NFTs in some sort of way. We just saw controversy with Call of Duty with their 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏 skins. They removed them from the marketplace due to some comments made by 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏s online. But in reality, those people who now can't buy it, they might want to buy it. What's the best way for that? A peer-to-peer marketplace where someone could have bought the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 skin, bought the 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 skin, and now all of a sudden it's scarce, it's rare. They can trade that and it would go for higher value than they purchased it at because you can't buy any more. So the use case is something that I guarantee you every company is having to research, having to dive into. But once they see quality games in Web3 that have actually integrated NFTs correctly and succeeded without being scammy, without being a Ponzi, without completely just destroying their community based on the financial side of these games, then we're going to see some massive moves in the space. The default home for Web3 gaming is Immutable and Polygon, as we see here. Polygon was some of the biggest partnerships on the business side. Immutable was some of the biggest partnerships on the gaming side. This starts where you should be putting your money if you're betting on this industry long term. There's a couple of buckets, right? Infrastructure, blockchains, studios, and individual games. We're going to start with the blockchains. I think that Polygon, Immutable, and I would add Avalanche and eventually Arbitrum. Arbitrum's fully diluted market cap is a little bit outlandish at this time period, but I think the three blockchains over this bear market that if you build a position on, being Polygon, Immutable X, and like I said, I would add Avalanche into this mix. Stuff like Shrapnel, stuff like Off the Grid. You have TSM, second biggest esports organization in the world, building on Avalanche. I think that these three blockchains will be the ones to kind of have that mainstream adoption and really have quality products on their blockchains for the lifeline of this industry. And then you move from blockchains into studios. Studios, if you want to kind of be an early investor in a Riot Games, Epic Games, Activision Blizzard, this is the sector that you would want to look at. Stuff like Vulcan Forge and Vulcan Studios, who are making tons of improvements to their games. I know a lot of people out there, Vulcan Forge, they say that their games really aren't the highest quality, but as of now, they're still building these games. They're still building all of these experiences. And as you see here, they're basically what I would call renovating, upgrading, and giving them a facelift at this moment in time. So they have tons of games. They have a fully functioning marketplace, ecosystem, decentralized exchange, staking on the platform. They have their own blockchain with Elysium L1. They have their own metaverse platform with Metascapes. So if you're looking to get involved with studios, distribution platforms, ecosystems of games, right? So why bet on the next Fortnite when you can just bet on the next big publisher, the next big game ecosystem, and your investment likelihood of success is way higher at that point in time? I can't tell you how many VCs in Web2 gaming must have gone broke trying to pick the next Warzone, Apex Legends, Fortnite, World of Warcraft, RuneScape. 99% of the games, they can't knock off these games, which Coop from Avalanche, he had a good thread the other day. What are forever games? Those are forever titles. They will be around forever. They won't die. The player base is loyal to those communities. You can't be putting your money in every blockchain game, playing game roulette out here with your investments and just praying one of them hits. You should be putting your money into the ecosystems, the Vulcan Forge, the galas, pushing 20 plus games at this point. Some of the best IP games out there with The Walking Dead, with Battlestar Galactica. They have Grit. They have Last Expedition. They have a new poker game, which is going to be advertised at the World Series of Poker. So stuff like Vulcan, Gala, Magic, the leading ecosystem and distributor underneath the Arbitrum chain, Ultra, the Steam of crypto gaming, tons of titles over on Ultra. They have 100 plus publishers. I believe at this point in time, it's over that. We spoke with Nicholas, the co-CEO, last year here on the show. I believe it's way more than that at this point. So if you want the distributions and the studios kind of trying to invest in those next big brand name studios from Web 2. I would look at Vulcan, Gala, Magic, and Ultra. And the upcoming platform in that niche distribution would be G Swift. And as Kagi says here, no other platform or blockchain is offering real yield through their token. This is how you align gamers and investors into your project. We've been talking about GameSwift and their upcoming airdrop very much because I'm getting involved in the airdrop. I'm absolutely completing those challenges, and I hope you guys have been too. I've been telling you the entire way to get involved with the challenges, but it accrues real yield generated by the GameSwift platform from the subscription, in-app purchases, NFT sales, swap fees, cash out fees, battle passes, premium accounts. This is how a Web3 ecosystem should function. So I'm very bullish on G Swift alongside all of these platforms as one that hasn't really come out yet. Altura, now we're getting into infrastructure, right? So infrastructure that kind of helps games build. It's a back end of these games, like the technology that fuels the Web3 side. And there's not a lot of these, but Altura, very bullish on Altura. This is my number one low cap heading into next cycle. I think strategic DCAs here throughout the bear market are going to yield massive returns once we get into the next cycle. $18 million market cap. This market cap just keeps shrinking, but the quality of this product keeps growing. I definitely think that this is going to be one of the biggest winners in the next bull cycle, and they enable games to put Web3 into their product. They enable gamers to be protected with wallet protection services. They're an all-around, all-encompassing plug and play for the Web 2 gaming developer who wants to build a game in Web 3. So I'm super bullish on Altura. I'm also very bullish on 𝗍𝗂 as a infrastructure. So we've been talking about 𝗍𝗂. They're also helping Web 2 games go to market. I'm actually going to be talking to their founder on an upcoming show because I think the narrative here is interesting. Their ISPO, very interesting offer. A lot of tokens do IGOs, fair launches, pre-sales, etc. 𝗍𝗂 is going the opposite route, and they're basically giving stakers tokens of 𝗍𝗂, not for free, but for staking their Cardano, their Polygon, their Polkadot, their Ethereum. And as you see here, they've reached 3 million Cardano staked in their pools for their upcoming token launch. I think that's very impressive. So we're going to talk to 𝗍𝗂 about this, why they're building on Cardano. We're going to talk to them about their product, why games need infrastructure, why games need people with Web3 familiarity to help plug and play these blockchain aspects to make it an easy and smooth experience for their gamers. So we will have them on very, very soon to talk about that. And lastly, let's get into the game side. Unfortunately, and I participated in some of these games because that's all we had at this time period, right? So we had 𝗙𝗓𝗋. It was a click and play. Nothing really special. It was a battle game. We had 𝗏𝗏𝗋𝗋. You clicked a button and you watched your horse race across the screen. We had 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏. You send your crabs on a mining mission and you yield tokens. Those are what you would call Ponzi-nomics. That's what you would call Ponzi games because they were just yielding an endless token with an endless supply, and it wasn't really a game. It was just a financial ring, kind of a, what would you call it? A Ferris wheel, so to speak, right? You're just going around and around on the Ferris wheel, hoping to collect your rewards every time you get to the bottom. But in reality, the whales who got in first and then exited first just completely dumped on everyone else in the ecosystem, and it just became unsustainable. The liquidity leaves, and then the game dies. But now we're actually seeing quality products in Web3. We're going to start with this. We saw a game yesterday on Steam that's called Only Up, as Jonah shows here. It uses the Goblin Town IP. If you're not familiar, if you don't remember Goblin Town, free mint, it went up to like 7 Ethereum or something like that. As we see here, over 100K on Twitter. It was using Goblin Town NFTs inside the game. The shirt that the character wears says Goblin Town, one of the first Web3 related games to gain significant organic growth. You never know what works. As you see here, yesterday on Twitch, and it says this month, but yeah, these are monthly stats. Average viewers of 8,000 at a time, average live channels of 12, and it was the number 56 most popular game on Twitch at this point in time. I believe as far as a game goes, this was very, very popular, 93,000 peak viewers at one time. And this is hardly a Web3 game. It's just utilizing Web3 IP. So then we go into the games that are actually super quality in this industry. Illuvium's building the open world. We talked to 𝗙𝗏𝗃, and I'm super bullish on what they're doing here with Illuvium. We have stuff like Star Atlas that's releasing their showroom, and you can actually now fly your ships. You can go throughout the open world. There's so much you can do inside of these ecosystems. You know, we had been waiting on Illuvium and Star Atlas for what feels like years, and now they're progressing into the games that we once thought they would be. We have Shrapnel, first-person shooter, which is honestly looking like one of the sharpest games in the space by far. I mean, this team has been working endlessly. They have Myth Esports, the Myth from esports as an advisor on this project. They are doing things right. And just seeing the quality of games step up. You know, we have Dead Drop, Dr. Disrespect. We have 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Those guys have been building endlessly since the last bull market. And I'm very happy with the product that they've delivered to this point. It's like the open world Grand Theft Auto meets Ratchet and Clank. I think it's a really unique concept. And then obviously the one that probably gets the most speculation, that probably is going to have the most media impact as far as news goes, the 𝗏𝗏side metaverse. If the 𝗏𝗏side metaverse comes through and succeeds, it's going to be such a landmark for Web3 games, for metaverses. If they fail, it could actually set back the industry in a way, because this is going to get publicity. The apes got publicity. The land mint, whenever it was the high gas fees, got the publicity. If this goes well, it's going to get really good press. If this doesn't go well, the publications are going to come in rampant with the FUD and the negativity against the metaverse and against Web3. But bottom line is, we have evolved. We have truly evolved from experiences that were hardly games. They were just financial instruments, basically, that for profit. They were gamified yield farms. That's all those past games were, you know, the Pegaxes, the Cryptogaming, etc. And while I did participate, I was, you know, just like you guys, I was these economies were all a new concept. It was just a brand new game for everyone to be playing at that point in time. And that's what Web3 gaming was at that time. So it's amazing to be able to hop into these experiences now and say, this is Web3 gaming. This is actual gaming. And these all have tangible assets, you know, land, ships, illuvials, characters, operators inside of Shrapnel. We have the founders passes here within Dead Drop. We have the hooligans within 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and obviously the land inside of 𝗏𝗏side metaverse. So these things have all taken shape. And obviously, throughout all of this rant about gaming in this episode, is Web3 gaming dead? Absolutely not. Web3 gaming is far from dead, and it's actually just getting started. I would guarantee you that by 2025, we have handfuls and handfuls of quality games that people are actively participating in simultaneously. And some of these games, the ones that are able to break into the Web2 market and actually get gamers to come play over from these other games in Web2, and they actually understand the power of ownership and are having fun in these games like Shrapnel, Dead Drop, Illuvium, etc., it's going to be a fast change of the tides. And I do truly think that this is the most disruptive industry that will come out of crypto. I agree with what Elio says. This is the onboarding the masses play. A game overnight. You know, Elio says it. Robbie Ferguson from Illuvium from Immutable says it. Ryan Wyatt, Alex Becker, myself. We all have that same conviction that a quality game can add 1 million users overnight. Like, the power of gaming, Twitch, Kick, YouTube, it's going to spread like wildfire once these quality games come out. And I will be well positioned, and you should be too, if you are watching in the game here throughout this time period. We'll continue to cover all the developments in the space, my favorite tokens to keep taking a look at, DCAing and getting into before the next cycle, so you can come on top of the next bull run and be able to say that I was ahead of the biggest narrative in crypto, and that is gaming. So crypto gaming is more than alive. Like the video, subscribe down below, and comment. Let me know your thoughts. Is crypto gaming dead? Is crypto gaming alive? Is this industry the mechanism to add 1 million users overnight once we actually have these quality products? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be back this weekend. As always, play well, my friends.